Welcome back. One final point before we go tonight. This Saturday is the March for Our Lives, not the March for Life. That's the protest against abortion to celebrate and honor the 60 million lives lost to abortion since 1973. The media ignores that march. No, the March for Our Lives is about banning guns. Don't try to tell me it's about common sense. Don't pretend you respect the Second Amendment. Don't act like law-abiding gun owners are paranoid about losing their guns. Don't lie to us and pretend you have no intention of taking our guns away from us. Your march is about banning guns, period. If you are actually looking to solve the problem of school violence and mass shootings, prove it. If you actually want to solve gun violence, you wouldn't be coming after our guns. You wouldn't be hosting a rally targeting AR-15s when only 2% of murders in our country are committed with AR-15s. You wouldn't be targeting 18, 19, 20-year-old law-abiding gun owners and telling them that they are too young to bear arms while you parade around 16, 17, and 18-year-old kids and let them tell us that we can't bear arms. If you were actually looking for a way to solve school shootings like the one in Parkland, Florida, you wouldn't even be looking at guns. You'd be talking about why this attack happened in the first place, why the shooter was able to get his hands on a gun, why we have gun-free zones in schools when 98.4% of mass shootings happen in gun-free zones, why Coach Aaron Feis, who died protecting his students, wasn't allowed to conceal carry his firearm on campus so that he actually had a fighting chance to save lives. Where's your legislation to fix that? The FBI was tipped off about a terror threat Nikolas Cruz posted on YouTube saying he wanted to be a professional school shooter. The FBI did nothing. They didn't monitor Cruz. They didn't even refer the case to the Miami field office. Where's your protest about that? A person close to Cruz called the FBI tip line a month before the attack, warning them Cruz was going to be a school shooter. The FBI did nothing. Except they did put two and two together. They knew that Cruz was the same Cruz who posted the YouTube comment, and still the FBI did nothing. Where's your protest about that? The Broward County Sheriff's Office responded 39 times to calls about Nikolas Cruz's violence. They suspended 2 of their deputies for responding improperly to these calls. Where's your protest about that? The deputy at the school resource officer, Scott Peterson, refused to talk to the state social services about some incident involving Cruz. So, the Florida Family Services declared Cruz to be stable, even though he clearly was not. How can you talk about bolstering mental health services and not be protesting that? Nikolas Cruz told his therapist about his blood-soaked dreams. The school therapist and the psychologist created a safety plan to protect Cruz from himself and protect others from Cruz. They knew Cruz ingested gasoline in an attempt to harm himself. They knew he cut his own arms to harm himself. The police knew he beat up his mother multiple times. The school knew about death threats Cruz made against his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend. Cruz's therapist warned the school about Cruz's potential for violence. Authorities wanted Nikolas Cruz institutionalized, but nobody did anything about it. The school's policy was to let students off the hook after they misbehaved or committed crimes so that the crime rate in the county wasn't so high. Then the day of the shooting, the school deputy didn't enter the building, violating police policy. 3 more deputies arrived on the scene and they didn't enter the building, violating police policy. How much neglect do you need to protest what actually allowed this attack to happen? It wasn't the gun. Nikolas Cruz should never have been able to get his hands on a gun. If even one of these people at the school, the sheriff's office, or the FBI had done their job and responded according to the law when Nikolas Cruz was violent. But they didn't. They didn't enforce the laws we have on the books that are designed to keep us safe. That's why the March for Our Lives is nothing but a bunch of anti-gun, anti-liberty, progressive, big government BS. If any one of the liberals behind that march wanted to solve gun violence, I just named about 12 ways the government failed to keep us safe. And if you notice, none of the reasons Cruz was allowed to wage his violence had anything to do with a gun. And that's my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a good night.